Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning into the only show in the warp where the worst of the worst come together to entertain you. Tonight is the finale of
DeadLocked Arena, baby! I'm Craig Capital.
I'm Harry H. Hostel.
And I'm Chris Punishment.
Today we're playing Disable Air Defense. One team plants the bombs, the other's trying to stop them. It's sabotage, it's mayhem, it's everything we love about Kill Team, cranked up to 11.
And get this, Ork Coven versus Kommandos. We've got twisted sorcery on one side and brutal green muscle on the other. Guess who won initiative?
Our boy Greg, that's right. The orcs will be planting the bomb, and honestly, it couldn't be more perfect. If there's one thing orcs love, it's blowing things up.
You said it. Ork Coven's gonna have to hold the line against a tidal wave of sneaky, stabby, DACA-happy greenskins. Deployment's underway, and when we come back, it's Turning Point 1. Don't go anywhere. Alright, folks, it's time for Turning Point 1, and things are already heating up like a grot stuck in a burner bunker.
We're kicking off with the strategy phase, and Greg's orcs come out swinging. Opening with Skulk About, a classic sneaky trick for one command point. Those commandos are ready to duck, dive, and dodge. Meanwhile, Jake's Warp Coven hits the warp with Fate itself is my weapon, but oof. They roll a 1 and a 5, only one Fate die this round. And that's a tough break when you're slinging spells.
Spells.
Slinging spells.
When you're splinging splumes.
Slinging spells.
Splinging splurge.
Spells time.
They patched up with Brotherhood of Sorcerers, which helps their casting game. But let's see if it's enough.
Rocket Boy kicks it off, dashing behind cover near Objective 1. The orcs are getting into position fast. One of the Rubric Marines, and I quote, the basic bitch one, gets up high, deploys a ladder, climbs up a building. That's the kind of elevation Warp Coven loves.
Sniper Boy isn't messing around. Deploys his own ladder and moves to high ground. You know what that means.
Someone's about to lose a head. And here it comes. The Soul Reaper cannon opens up on Rocket Boy. 5 hits. 5. Rocket Boy's in trouble. He loses a defense die, but thanks to Skulk About, he auto-passes one save.
Only one save sticks. That means he'd normally be toast with 12 damage, but Greg clutches with Tis But a Scratch for 1 command point. He reduces the hit to 8 damage and clings to life with just 2 wounds left.
Rocket Boy's a survivor. Well, barely. Breacher Boy does what Breacher Boys do and breaches straight through the wall of a building, opening up a new sightline for chaos. The Warpfire Sorcerer makes a bold play. He advances to the midboard and fires off that brutal Warpfire pistol at the newly exposed Breacher.
One miss, 2 hits, and a crit. Breacher auto-passes 1, but still takes 6 damage from that wicked flame. And the pain's not over. Warpfire swaps tactics and goes psychic, casting Mind Burn. Rolls a crit, 3 hits, re-rolls with Brotherhood, and uses a Fate die to seal it. Breacher Boy goes down. That's 2 activations of pain from one spooky dude.
But here comes the Burner Boy through the breach, bringing the pain to the Warpfire Sorcerer. All hits. Only 1 save from the Sorcerer. That's 9 damage right back. And the Warpfire is now injured.
Time Sorcerer hustles over to the Warpfire and patches him up, healing 5 wounds. Then casts Temporal Flux to set up more teleporting chaos later.
This kind of seems like bullshit. They just have a lot of health, you know?
Yeah, a little bit. I agree.
Reading this back, you know?
Yeah.
You can't keep these nerds down for long. DACA Boy
Still standing.
DACA Boy repositions and opens up on the Warpfire with DACA Dash. 3 hits after the rerolls. 1 save gets through, 2 hits land, and that re-injures the Warpfire Sorcerer and drops him down to just 4 health. He's barely standing in there.
That's the first half of Turning Point 1, and it's already absolute carnage. Spells, fire, bullets, and breaches. What else could you ask for?
We've got half the round left to go, and this battlefield's already smoking. Greg's commandos are turning up the heat, but Jake's Warp Coven are holding down the center with raw warp power. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back with the second half of Turning Point 1.
What am I putting an ad in here?
Yeah, no, sorry, just keep reading.
I'll just read ahead then. Roll the crit.
You might need to.
Didn't you already read this? Right? No? You read it when you color coded it.
No, he just
Yeah, I
looked
mean, yeah, I
at
read
like
it whenever
how
I
things
colored
kind of
it.
like
I'm just
felt
being, like,
vibe-wise.
ready for it, you know?
He
Goes
vibe
off-
checked the.
You can't
the-
vibe check words if you don't read
He
them.
vibe checked the paragraph
The size
sizes.
of
I
the
watched him do it.
God, we left off with the Warp Fire Sorcerer barely hanging on. And now it's time to see if Jake can keep him alive or if Greg's going full wall on the Warp Nerds.
Wah.
Okay.
The icon. The rocket. The rocket bearer. That's a cool.
The Rocket Bearer.
The icon bearer makes his move and takes a shot at the injured rocket boy.
A rocket bear kind of sounds like he's like running around with like just like
A
the
rocket
footballs
bear
in his
and
hands, and he's
icon
just
boy.
chucking them at people.
I don't know. It kind of sounds like a royal kingdom of like who would bring me the shells to my RPG. The rocket. Someone fetch me the rocket bearer.
If it's like an all-in-one unit, it'd be like the Rocket Bearer just is holding like a missile, and then he just like a guy hits the back of the missile and it goes.
That sounds like orks.
And he's like,
Yeah, that
it
sounds like
lets
some
it
orc
go.
stuff.
That's what. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Rocket
orc.
bear, bring me my rocket. I need to blow up this motherfucker. Roll the crit and a hit. Rocket Boy auto passes one, loses one, fails the rest, and that's it. Rocket Boy is down. First blood for the Warp Coven. But the Icon Bear is not done. He fires a second volley at another Orc Boy. Gets a crit and 2 hits. That's a lot. That's a lot of DACA from the. I don't even know how to say that word.
DACA.
With
It's
the
a
soft
Warhammer
A.
Zinch.
Zinch? Yeah, Zinch.
That's a lot of DACA from the Zinch end.
It's a Warp Coven worship Zinch.
Oh yeah, word. The Orc takes 1 from Devastating 1, auto passes 1, loses 1, fails to save, 6 more damage, drops him down to just 3 wounds. This boy is barely clinging on. Oh, and that injured Orc boy. That injured Orc boy. He's not backing down. Repositions and opened fire on the Rubik Marine with the heavy gun. 2 crits. Absolutely a killer. The Rubik fails all saves, taking 8 damage. Rubric. He's injured, still alive at 6 wounds, but feeling it.
He's straight rubricked.
Oh my god. Destiny Sorcerer says nah and throws the Doom Bolt at the DACA boy. Two crits and a hit with the reroll. 4 wounds go straight through, and 8 more follow because there's only 1 save. DACA boy is gone.
To top it off, the Destiny Sorcerer casts Protected by Fate on the Warp Fire, trying to lock in that key midboard piece. The Comms Boy gives Boss Knob an extra APL with his ability, but the Icon Bearer gets a counterfire at the wounded Orc Boy, landing a single hit. And with no saves, the boy is gone. Just deleted.
Just deleted.
He's not
He's
standing.
just deleted.
He's
He's
just
not standing.
deleted.
He's just
not
not standing.
standing.
He is deleted.
Boss Knob pushes forward and fires on the Destiny Sorcerer. 2 hits, but 2 saves. He just soaks it up. He's not done yet. He uses Get It Done to give Slasher Boy an extra APL, setting up for mayhem.
Like
Get her
the
down.
ShamWoo.
Oh wait, isn't
ShamWoo.
that someone's line? We can't use that.
Larry the Cable Guy?
Oh shit, maybe we can use that. Is he alive?
Yes.
Never mind.
Dumbass.
I don't know who's alive.
But here comes Warp Fire Sorcerer with Firestorm for his counteract. Targets Boss Knob and Burner Boy. Rolls 2 crits and a hit. Boss Knob saves 1 crit, but still takes 5 damage. Then 3 crits and 2 hits after rerolls go into the Burner Boy. The Burner Boy saves nothing, and he dies peacefully in his sleep, surrounded by warp flames.
The Grapple Grot grapples and grots. You love to see it.
Unless you're loser Gavin.
Meanwhile, the Destiny Sorcerer does a little 2-inch warp dash, prepping for later.
2
no
inches.
Doubt.
2 inches.
That's a massive dash right there.
I'd say that's a pretty average dash. Slasher Boy steps up with a knife throughout the Warp Fire Sorcerer. 2 crits and a hit. Warp Fire tries to arcane robe one of those crits into a hit, but it's just not enough. He dies, and the Warp Fire's down, and the Slasher Boy just yeeted a knife into a wizard!
The basic Rubric Marine isn't having it. Fires on Boss Knob. 1 devastating crit and 3 hits. Boss Knob fails all his saves. He's just gone. That's a huge blow to the Ork command structure.
He's not standing.
He
Man,
is.
they are not the goats. They cannot stand.
Goats can stand. That's canon.
With a little bit of blood on the board and chaos in the air, Bomb Squid calmly repositions. And that's where we wrap up Turning Point 1.
What a slugfest! Orks came in fast and punchy, but Jork's Warp Coven brought the fire, the bolts, the fate, and the fancy robes.
Sorry, who's
Jork?
Yeah, who's Jork?
Jork! You know, with the Warp Coven! He's straight jorking it in by it, I mean the Warp Coven? Come on, this is a classic saying. What a slugfest! Orks came in fast and punchy, but Jake's Warp Coven brought the fuck. But Jake's Warp Coven brought the fire, the bolts, the fate, and the fancy robes.
We're seeing casualties pile up on both sides, but control of the board is still very much in flux. We'll be back with Turning Point 2, and it's only going to get crazier from here.
Winner Greg wins initiative again. Jake gains 2 command points, bringing him to 3. Greg gains 1 command point and immediately burns it on Skulk About.
Jake activates Fate itself as my weapon in Brotherhood of Sorcerers once more.
Sniper Boy lines up a concealed shot on the Destiny Sorcerer from across the map. With heavy and devastating 2, the dice fall, 2 crits and 2 hits.
That's an auto 4 damage just for showing up.
Jake uses his fate dice to cancel 1 crit, and the Sorcerer saves 2, but still ends up injured from the precision blast. The Destiny Sorcerer, now bleeding warp energy, falls back. He casts Ravage Destiny on Slasher Boy, cursing his fate. Then, in a surge of healing sorcery, he patches himself back up for 6 wounds, fully unwounding himself. Just like that, he's back in the fight, just standing there.
Grapplegrot sneaks in and scrambles through the chaos, plants a bomb on Objective 2, and does it all with style. The basic bitch Rubric Marine, your classic foot slugger,
Hate that guy.
drops down, makes a break for the objective, disarms the bomb, and dashes back up to his team near the Slasher Boy. A clean, efficient disarm.
Yeah, so Slasher Boy isn't having any of that. Even under the curse of Ravaged Fate, he charged the Rubric Marine like a mad lad. With rerolls working against him, the crit gets stripped, but he still lands 3 hits. The Rubric manages just 1 hit, which is instantly parried. The Slasher Boy activates Implant Attack for 1 victory point, dealing 4 damage. What do you have to say?
That felt so AI voiced.
Yeah. It activates Implant Attack for 1 victory point. Then Slasher activates Implant Attack for 1 victory point, dealing 4 damage, dropping the Marine down to 10 wounds. Such a hard thing to say.
It is actually, when you said it the second time.
The Slasher activates Implant Attack for 1 victory point, dealing 4 damage. This drops the Marine down to 10 wounds.
Wait a minute. Did 4 damage and he still has 10 wounds left?
Yeah, they have like
14 health
24
points.
wounds or some shit.
But he's not done.
That's why he's standing.
His Crumpin' trait kicks in. He swings again for free. This time with 1 crit, 1 parried, and 4 more damage. Jake spends a command point on all his dust to reduce that 4 damage to 1, but then the slash up triggers "that all you got," inflicting 3 mortal wounds, leaving the rubric barely clinging to life with 1 wound left.
He took 4 regardless of what he said.
Yeah, man.
The wounded rubric marine repositions, probably questioning all of his life decisions.
The bomb squid scuttles into the center of the battlefield like a ticking time bomb. It explodes! The blast targets both the rubric marine and the slasher boy. 2 crits and 1 hit on the rubric, and he fails to save and gets obliterated. Slasher rolls his dice, 2 crits, 1 hit, auto saves 1, but not enough. He dies with honor and style.
The Destiny Sorcerer retreats behind cover near the Soul Reaper cannon. He casts Protected by Fate on the gunner, prepping him for the coming storm. Comms Boy repositions, setting up for future plays, likely eyeing the next objective, or ready to dish out that sweet extra APL. Icon Bear makes a bold dash up the field, pushing pressure on the board.
Then Jake reveals his tack op. Contain.
Oh snap.
The positioning is solid. The timing, sharp.
Jake scores 2 VP, pulling ahead in the mission game.
Scoreboard check. Greg 1, Jake 2.
Jake wins initiative for the first time, but he only gains 1 command point, limiting his options. He opts in for Fate is Thy Weapon. He rolls a 4 and 2, which unfortunately is less than 9, so only one of those Fate dice survives this turn.
You're right, 4 and 2 is less than 9.
Yeah.
It's just basic math.
That is basic math.
Greg responds by popping Skulk About, leaning into that survivability again. Time Sorcerer pushes forward with a move and dash, setting up the Flux Blast on the MVP himself, Grapple Grot. 4 attacks, 2 crits, and 1 hit, but sadly, thanks to Rending, it becomes 3 crits. The Grot, he failed all saves.
Just like that, Grapple Grunt is gone.
Pour one out for the true legend.
We won't miss him. I mean, MVP of the tournament.
He grappled, he grotted, he bombed, and he will be remembered.
Reeling from the loss of his star player, winner Greg sends in Sniper Boy to even the score. Firing a concealed shot at the Time Sorcerer, he lines up his sight, remembering all the fond times he had. 2 hits and a crit. Jake rolls his saves, fails the crit, and takes 4 damage and gets injured.
It's not a knockout, but it's a solid crackback.
Time Sorcerer isn't out yet. He pops his psychic power, dropping a temporal fucks again.
Oh yeah, we did read that already.
Yeah, dropping a temporal flux to reposition himself out of line in sight and away from the fight.
A strategic retreat. Smart play from Jake to keep his sorcerer alive.
The Destiny Sorcerer unleashes a Doom Bolt at the enemy sniper. All 4 blasts strike true. The Sniper Boy, unable to muster enough defense dice to resist the psychic onslaught, is obliterated where he stands. The Comms Boy repositions and levels his shock weapon at the Icon Bear. With a devastating 2 and severe profile, he lands 1 critical and 3 normals, 2 of which automatically inflict wounds. The Icon Bear manages to save with the critical and a normal die, but still takes 3 damage.
The wounded Rubric Marine returns fire. Only 1 shot hits, but it's easily saved. The Comms Boy responds immediately with a counter volley. 2 criticals and 1 hit slam into the Icon Bearer.
Slams him.
This brutal exchange leaves the Icon Bearer with just 6 wounds remaining.
The Soul Reaper cannon spins up. and the first barrage yields 1 critical and 2 hits. The comms boy rolls a critical and a normal save, but Jake spends a command point to eliminate the final hit.
The second volley is even more punishing. 3 hits and a critical. This time, no saves were made, and 17 wounds tear through, finishing off Greg's last remaining orc.
After a brutal back and forth filled with explosions, psychic fury, and 1 heroic grot, it's Jake and the Warp Coven who come out on top 2-1.
Greg's orcs put up a savage fight, from the bomb squig detonations to the knife-throwing slasher, and of course, the legendary Grapple Grot stealing the show one last time before going out in a blaze of psychic fire. But in the end, Jake's tactical discipline, psychic dominance, and an easy disarm on the bomb tipped the game in his favor.
This has been one hell of a clumsy ride through our first ever Kill Team tournament.
Honestly, I loved every moment.
And just like that, it was over. Warp Coven are now retired to the Hall of Deadlocked Fame, forever immortalized. And Jake, turns out he failed his drug test, so we had to let him out of the airlock.
Thanks for watching. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe for more DeadLocked Arena, baby. And remember, skulk about, crump 'em, and never forget the grot. What is that last part?
My part?
What is that?
Let me reread it. It might make better sense for you. And Jake, well, it turns out he failed his drug test, so we launched him out of the airlock. Like that we just killed Jake off here.
Like